So now we're going to take a look at the surface area of a cone. The surface area of a cone is pi r times L plus pi r squared, where the r stands for the radius, that is the distance from the middle of the base to the edge, and L is for the lateral length of the cone, basically from the tip to the base. So taking a look at our picture here, what we're able to see is that r is equal to 3. Now the distance between my point to the base is going to be, so that's L, and that is 11.4. Now these are expressed in meters. So the surface area of the cone, all I simply have to do is take my formula and plug it in. So I'm just plugging it in with great joy. And plus, so R was 3, L was 11.4, plus pi, now R was 3, so make sure I square that. So if you take your time with your calculator, what you'll find is that this is 135.72. My base unit is going to be meters, and since we're dealing with surface area, my units will be squared. Now, you may notice I have taken a little bit of a shortcut. I already rounded to 2 decimal places. Take a look at the output in your calculator and make sure it matches up with this. All right, let's go on to the next example. So in my next example, I'm just going to make sure, I think a very good first step is always to write the formula. The surface area is equal to pi r times L plus pi r squared. And I think only now do you start to think, oh, what do these represent? So pi is a button on your calculator, or 3.14. But try to use, this should have a pi button on your calculator. R is the radius. It is the distance from the center of the circle or the base to the edge. L is the lateral distance from the point to the base of your cone. So pi is, we already know that, is a constant, and r we will already determine. So here, when I take a look at this cone, what I notice is that I'm given not the radius, but I'm actually given the diameter. So the diameter of this cone is 24. So the radius is going to be half of that, 24 divided by 2, which is 12 meters. Now, the L, I'm just going to go, oh, what's the next thing in my formula? It's L. Well, my L is that lateral distance from the point of the cone to the base. So my L here is 28 meters. So simply, I'm just going to plug it in. So S is my surface area is equal to pi times 12 times 28 plus pi times 12 squared. And when I reach for my calculator and I quickly do that, I get, pardon me, what I get is my surface area is going to be 1,507.96 meters squared. Let's move on to our last example before we call it a day. This is a square base pyramid. So the surface area of a square base pyramid is going to be S squared plus 4 times the area of a triangle. Now this one seems a little bit more adaptable in terms of how we can think about this. It's very visual. So really all we're going to do to figure out the surface area is find the area of my base. And then I'm going to add it to if I take a look at how many other sides do I have, well, one side per side of the base. So I have 4 other sides leading up to the point of the cone, and I'm talking about this side. So there's one side, and there's 4 other sides that match this exactly. So now I can just write the area of a triangle. Now the area of a triangle is going to be 1/2 times base, but I'm just going to call that S because my base is the side length, times by my height. So I could simplify this formula if I want. So the surface area is going to be the side length of the base, plus, I'll do the algebra for you. 4 times 1/2 is 2, times the side length, times the height. And now we have a much simpler formula than any of the two above, even though you can resort to the above if it makes sense. So very simply, I'm just going to comment, or I'm just going to highlight, what do I know? What do I know? I know the side length of my base, and it's a square-based pyramid, so the bottom's a square. So I got my side length is 8 miles, and that's good. Now, the height from bottom to the point, this is it. This is what I call the height. The height is equal to 9.8 miles. So the surface area of this wonderful triangle is going to be 8 squared, plus 2 times 8, because S is 8, and H is 9.8. So putting this all in, what I get, I'll punch it into my calculator. So my surface area is going to be 220.8. I take a look at the units being used. It's miles. I'm going to square those units.